Hyperdrive Hockey is brought to you by the Game Over Network. Make sure to follow us on YouTube at Game Over Network and catch Hyperdrive Hockey in audio format on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other good streaming platform. Hello, beautiful citizen of planet Ho Ho Hockey. My name is Maxime Vanut, and welcome to another episode of Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network. I'm, of course, with Daphne Malbeuf and Kevin Laramé. Please, as a Christmas gift to your people over here, subscribe to Game Over Network's channel on YouTube. Drop a review on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. This will be the last regular episode of Hyperdrive Hockey this year, not this season, this year, calendar year 2024. We will take a little break. Stay tuned. The Game Over Network's YouTube page for more content during the holidays. We will be back early January. Daphne Malbeuf, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, Max. I'm in Christmas spirit, and I really love your Darth Vader Christmas sweater. Yeah, it's on point. I really wanted to get mine today, but in weird circumstances, I've lost the track of all of my Christmas sweaters. So
that's sad. That's sad. You don't see it, so this is Darth Vader wearing a Santa's hat, and you can't. I'm not gonna stand but anyways. And at the bottom it says, "I find your lack of cheers disturbing." And for any big Star Wars fan, this is a beautiful reference. I love that sweater. Love that sweater, I'm gonna wear it all holidays.
It also means that even if it's Darth Vader, if it is in Christmas spirits, so everyone can be.
Yeah, let's just say Darth. That's a title. That's not a name. Let's just say my boy Anakin Skywalker ain't no Dad of the Year award recipient, but I'm team bad guy in life. I always am more attracted to the bad guys. I don't know why.
I can see why.
I find that their stories are more intricate, are more relatable, and are more real. Because let's be real. If the Force or lightsabers were real, I would not use it to bring good across the galaxy. I would use it, number one, to grab the TV controller, the TV remote, whenever I can find it. I would close the stores, not the stores, but the curtains.
The curtains.
And I don't know, maybe also sometimes, like grab a lightsaber to hopefully not cut my own hand, but life would not be good if lightsabers were real. Would Kevin Laramé be a Jedi or a Sith Lord?
I would probably be a Jedi to begin with, and then realize that the dark side is actually more fun. And I would probably do the same as you, but I would probably get arrested really quickly. Because I would probably be like, okay. And walking in the mall at Christmas time, ooh, I like this thing. Okay, come over to here. Yeah, that would
exactly. Yeah. No, the Force would not be a good thing.
I would also make a lot of pranks, universe. Like somebody.
I would make so much pranks.
Yeah.
I would be the prank lord. Actually, I would be Darth Prank.
Darth Prank.
That's it. I'm Darth Prank. I will only do
title.
Oh wow! Now I want to. Oh, okay. We have a lot to talk about today. We will have a little special segment where we will give gift. Figuratively speaking, I'm not literally going to send a gift to an NHL team. They have more money than I do, and we will also put ourselves in the shoes of an NHL team and ask for a gift. But before we get there, what the heck is going on? Can you guys remember? Not a pre-trade deadline, a pre-trade freeze, because there is a trade freeze during the holidays to make sure that GMs don't call players on Christmas Eve or on Christmas and say, hey, buddy, you're going across North America, pack your thing. And so on Thursday, it is the last day to trade players in the NHL. And on Wednesday, the NHL GMs went berserk. It all started with the New York Rangers trading away Kaapo Kakko to the Seattle Kraken. And guys, I do not like that trade for the New York Rangers. Kaapo Kakko as yet, he was drafted in 2019. I think we can assume by now, well, we never know, but he will never fill the expectations that were placed onto him with a second overall pick right behind Jack Hughes all the way back in 2019. But he is a good NHLer. He is a good third line winger. Like I said, this is disappointing for the Rangers, but that trade to me from the Rangers to the Kraken for a third round pick in 2025, a sixth round pick in 2025 also, and defenseman Will Borgen, this is, for me, this is a bad trade for the New York Rangers, Daph.
Yeah, looking at what, like for the Kraken, they have, this is little risk, low risk bet for the Kraken. But when you're looking at it, you're like, really? For the Rangers? Because even if, he struggled to find his consistency, he maybe had been disappointing in a way that looking at the expectations were on this guy when he was drafted, you're like, okay, maybe this is not the version that we wanted. But you've said it, like he's defensively responsible. He excels at retrieving pucks. He wins battles along the walls, and every team want a guy like that. He hasn't shown a ton of offensive creativity, but he's got tools and experience to be a really good middle six winger that can provide legitimate two-way value. So this is a really good bet for the Kraken because they didn't give up much. And you were looking at Borgen, he's likely going to walk in free agency because they were having Adam Larson and Brendan Montour who were locked up long term. So for them, this is a really good trade. But Max, you're looking at the Rangers side, and maybe there was something in there because there's a shortage of defensemen available in the trade market. And there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams who are hunting for blue line help. So I don't know, but yeah, this is not looking good. But this is no surprising for this Ranger team who, I think we all saw that coming after all the Trouba drama. The Rangers were maybe looking for their next move, and boy, it happened fast because Kako was scratched on Sunday. He expressed publicly his frustration at being healthy scratch, and boom, 3 days later, he's off to Seattle. So what's happening with the Rangers? This is my question here. Like, what the hell is happening in there? And what is Chris Drury doing with this team?
Well, I'm going to tell you a thing. They're going to miss the playoffs. At this point in time, they're going to miss it. I'm ready to make that bold prediction. The New York Rangers are going to miss the playoffs. And honestly, if I'm the New York Rangers owner, I'm losing no time. I am making a change in front office before it's too late because Chris Drury was surfing on the previous administration's moves. Like, he is literally the one reaping what was sowed before he came. He looked like a genius because he went to two conference finals in his first 3 years. Yeah, but I don't know. He's basically a trust fund GM. He's a trust fund GM. Somebody who's dad had money, well, not literally, but figuratively speaking, who were there before, left him a beautiful trust fund. They fructified the assets for years, and he's there like, hey, millionaire, don't need to work. Well, now you need to work, and you're doing a horrible job. He has turned that locker room against him, a GM, not a coach, a GM. It's disrespect for your veterans. It's disrespect for a team that has done very good. It's panic moves, and it's not looking good. And I still can't comprehend that Igor. Well, I actually can't comprehend. But I'm going to say again what I said a few weeks back. If I had been Igor Shesterkin, I would have waited before I signed that contract.
But now, yes, because how in the hell can this team go from contender for the Stanley Cup, as we were speaking at the beginning of the season? A lot of people saw that team winning maybe the Stanley Cup.
And rightfully so.
And
President
rightfully
Trophy
so.
champions, conference finals, a
So
goalie.
how the hell in such few months are we from the very top to the lowest point? Like, what? Boy, that escalated. That de-escalated quickly.
Yeah, but you know what's that's actually very interesting because you're talking and I'm thinking now. Do you remember at the start of the season, you know, the Boston Bruins trading Linus Solmark away before securing Jeremy Swayman, then Jeremy Swayman holding out in camp, and we were like, oh, like the Boston Bruins, despite some I actually really loved the Zadorov acquisition. I like Lindholm a bit less, but despite some key acquisition, we're like, did they screw their season before it even started, particularly with the goalie situation? Well, you know what? The Bruins, at the very least, reacted quickly. At the moment, I'm going to say it. I thought they were reacting too quickly, so I'm not going to stand here and say they did a good thing, but they reacted quickly with a change of course, and now they're back, a change of coach, sorry, and now they're back on track. Meanwhile, the New York Rangers, if we go back all the way to Barclay Goodrow, refusing to go to the Sharks. All right, waivers, you're going to the Sharks. Asking Jacob Trouba's list earlier than they had to, causing friction, him refusing to be traded. They cultivated that in the summer. And I think that the relationships got sour in the summer. Jacob Trouba was team captain. I think that he was still really appreciated by his teammates. I think that the team in itself went full Pirates of the Caribbean on Jack Sparrow during the summer. In this case, Chris Drury being Jack Sparrow with 10% of the charisma of the captain. Captain Jack Sparrow. And now it's what we're seeing right now. They can't weather the storm.
Yeah, so that was maybe predictable that at some point shit was gonna hit the fan. Because when you're mismanaging a team like that, you need to be prepared to what's coming. And I don't know. You've been talking about Sheshti. Maybe he had to wait to see, because I don't know where is this team going. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
You know what? $11.5 million and the opportunity to live in New York. You know what?
I would have done the same.
Yeah, $11.5 million a year. What was it? Saying no to $80 million? You know what? I take that back. I would never say no to 80 million. Hello, $80 million. Here I am. Yep.
New York is a beautiful city to have money in too. Like if you have 11.5 million a year, there's a lot of things you can do in New York that most people can't.
You know what? Hi, it's me. I'm not the problem. I'm your goalie, as would say Taylor Swift in this situation. Okay, the Joseph Brader reunion was short-lived in St. Louis. Poor P.O. Joseph traded. I mean, poor. Like, he's traded back to Pittsburgh for future considerations. He signed there with his brother this summer. And, you know, a few days after a beautiful photo shoot for the Blues social media for the Winter Classic, wearing those ugly ass Winter Classic jersey. Sorry, Daph. This is my thought on the jersey. I know you love him. And now he's traded for nothing to Pittsburgh. I mean, in a way, you know what? There might be a bit of consolation for Pierre-Olivier Joseph, knowing that Pittsburgh wanted him back. At the same time, they didn't have to pay a thing for him. But it has to be disappointing. And for those of you who maybe didn't see his brother Mathieu posting a sad picture on social media on Wednesday night, with just a picture with a little crying emoji saying the Last Supper. But you know what? This is Pittsburgh trying to do things. I don't think it will be enough, but I actually appreciate that move by the Pens.
Yeah, so this is really sad. I was about to say that I don't know if you saw the IG story, but yeah, the final meal between the Joe Bros, and this is sad because, you know, we are all eager for those stories and just like brothers being reunited. We were all eager for that. But that being said, for P.O. Joseph, he played parts of 4 seasons with the Penguins. And when, last year, he did really good when he was playing with Chris Letang. He did play actually maybe his finest hockey in the NHL. And he gave Pittsburgh a legitimate top four pairing. So a lot of people were surprised when the Penguins did it up to bring him back before the free agency period hit, because Kyle Dubas and Mike Sullivan were saying they were pleased with the way he was performing during the Penguins' late season surge. So he's heading back there, and with the recent acquisition of Cam Fowler with the Blues, it made Joseph like he was a left-handed defenseman. He was expendable. So maybe it's better for him to go there and play than being healthy scratch with the Blues. And like the Penguins blue line has been playing better, but it needs help on the left side. You're looking at Marcus Peterson, who is out week to week with lower body injury. Ryan Graves, has been an extreme disappointment. So he will play with the Penguins. So this is maybe the good side for him. But I hope Chris Letang hadn't turned P.O. Joseph's room into an office or a bachelor's apartment, and he could be back in his Yule truck.
Wait, you still lived at Letang the last year in Pittsburgh?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But when you're moving like this, like so fast during, before Christmas, you're like, I hope you still have a room for me because I will need
maybe
time.
he hadn't sold his condo yet. I'm guessing he lived in a condo, so who knows?
Anyway,
We'll call him.
I feel like moving truck companies will be happy with this blizzard of trades.
Yeah, and another one happened in Montreal late on Wednesday night. And this is a trade I love for the Montreal Canadiens. They solidified their right side of the... You know what? Actually, like, when Alexandre Carrier got traded to Montreal, I was like, the New York Rangers couldn't afford him. Like, maybe they couldn't financially, but like, this would have been a much like... my respect to Justin Barron, but the Habs paid nothing. They give up in a way on Justin Barron, who was one of the first young acquisition by Kent Hughes when he became general manager of the Montreal Canadiens in January 2022. He traded for him in March 2022 in the Arthurie Lekonen trade. He was, at the moment, thought to be the asset of the trade. Now, know that the second pick that came with Barron ended up being traded for a first-round pick, who is Michael Age, who is ripping it up right now in Michigan in the NCAA. So maybe one day turns out that will be the good acquisition in the Arthurie Lekonen trade. But here's something on this for me. This is the first time in Kent Hughes' tenure as Montreal GM he is actually making a trade in season to improve the team. Because when you look at the other trades that he has made to improve the team, Kirby Dach happened at the draft. Alex Newhook happened, I think, also at the draft a year later, but maybe a day or two before or after. I think it wasn't at the draft day. Patrick Laine happened during the summer. The Sean Monahan trade happened during the summer too. It happened in August, but even Sean Monahan, when that trade happened, him making the Habs better was kind of a bonus because at the moment, like, Calgary paid a first-round pick to dump the contract, and Montreal took him. Like, it was actually a salary dump. The main goal was not to improve the team. And anyways, it didn't happen in season. Yeah. So this is the first time in this rebuild process with Kent Hughes that the Montreal Canadiens are making an in-season trade to improve the team right now, not for in a year, not for in 2 years, not for draft pick, young prospects. And so this marks a shift in Montreal's rebuild plan, in my opinion. It's not the biggest shift. I mean, they didn't go and get a bona fide start. They went and get a second pairing defenseman who's a specialist of the PK. But it is quite interesting, and it's a good message, I think, just before the holidays that Kent Hughes sends to his team, especially considering that the team is entering right now an extremely tough stretch of a schedule, back-to-back on Friday and Saturday night against Detroit, Columbus, but then the Panthers, the Lightning, the Golden Knights, all on the road, the Blackhawks, and then Colorado, Vancouver, Washington, Dallas. This congratulations to Kent Hughes, who apparently, by the way, has cell phone network in Russia.
to do good deals, but
Exactly.
You know, and I've said it before, I feel like the Habs need to have a little bit more and experience, and especially on the D side to play with their younger guys. It's cool to have like the rebuild and all the young guns out there, but you need to put players around them to just like solidify the core. And I feel like they've said it, they like Carrier's character. I feel like Barron, when they signed them this summer, it was like, okay, we are betting a little bit on you once again, but you have to prove yourself. And maybe he didn't, like he never really established himself like a regular player. He wasn't sure thing night after night. We played him, we didn't play him. And we need someone that can stay there. And I feel that this is what Carrier brings. At least I feel like he would be in uniform every night, and that solves part of the problem. Because when Barron wasn't playing, the Habs had to take two left-handers and send them to right. So this
David
was a
Savard's
big
the only
issue.
regular righty.
Absolutely, and David Savard, I like I don't want to say that he's not his. We love him so much, but he doesn't get any younger, and we need someone, and I feel that Carrier is this player also that can solidify the defensive side. We have a lot of players like Matheson, like Hudson, that can go and push and like bring some offense, but we need some more stay-at-home defensemen. And I feel like betting on Carrier is a really good thing at this point. And also, and I don't want to bring the debate, but for me, bringing another Quebecer, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Of course.
And bringing, sorry, I was going to say, to bring a Quebecer, not just because he's a Quebecer, but to bring him home because he's also... The hockey makes sense. The hockey reasoning makes sense. And I don't know if you guys saw it. Shout out to my friend, to my boy, Kevin Raphael, who posted an excerpt of an interview he did with him last year that talked about him wanting to play for Montreal. And the interview came out just before free agency. He's like, I'm not going to put this in the interview because you're going to get harassed now saying you want to play for Montreal and you're going to be a free agent. But he wanted to play for Montreal. For them, it's almost a wish that has been granted, and he's coming in Montreal. Like, it's a good time to be traded to the Montreal Canadiens. No expectations. You're a defenseman. You're not going to be seen as the savior. They're leaking goals. They're literally like a colander when you're straining your pasta. So right now, it can just get better, and it's a good time for him.
You went exactly where I wanted to go, Kev. This is exactly it. Like bringing a Quebecer without having all the pressure of the world on his shoulder, without being the savior, without putting much more expectation that needs to be expected from this one. So I really love the way that they did it. He has experience. We need that. And he's not seen as the guy who's gonna, like carry the whole weight of the team with him, but he can be there, he can help, and he will happy to be there.
Yeah. And you're talking about that Kevin Raphael interview. He gave one almost within the minutes of the trade to former Habs Max Lapierre on a French podcast here in Quebec on Wednesday night. And same thing. The smile on that face could not be faked. It was pure. The guy is happy, and it's cool to see. Honestly, it's fun. To me, it's a very, very good trade for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, it's not rare, but it's not always have been fun, like bringing our guy from here with the team. So just like seeing the smile and just like knowing that he's really happy to do so. This is a good Christmas gift for both him and the team.
My one little, not doubt, but not negative either, comment that is not necessarily positive is that it's another player from Kent Hughes' old old business, Quartex Management, which Kent Hughes partly owned. His agent is Philippe Le Cavalier, Vincent Le Cavalier's brother and agent of Mike Madison. He brought in Mike Madison, who is still with Quartex. He brought in Alex Newhook. So when I say it's not, it's at some point I am curious. Like, there's no problem wanting to work with the people you've worked with before. That is not a problem at all. But now that he is GM, I am curious to see like at which point, like, because that's a lot of player that he's bringing. But like I said, it's not. It's just a comment like this. It's not necessarily positive, not negative. I do
but
think
it has been a question.
Yeah, exactly. Like at some point, like first of all, if you are a GM for a long time in the league, your players, ex-players, will not be there anymore. You're gonna have to actually bring in players that you were not the agent of. But all jokes aside, that is something that came up here in Montreal. Okay, so that was the trade frenzy for now. Of course, we're staying up to date with if there are any other trades during the time we are recording the pod. But know that for now, this is what has happened. A really, really busy December on the trade market in the NHL. Okay, now let's get in the Christmas spirit. Let's go give and get some gifts.
Is the season of giving, and people we wanted to play Santa Claus and distribute our gifts before this very holiday season. So we thought about maybe having one gift. If we could give someone something to an NHL team, what would it be? And I want to start with you, Max. If you were Santa Claus and you had a gift for one NHL team, what would it be and why?
I'm not going to be long because I've talked about it too much before already on this podcast. But dear Santa, or actually I'm Santa. So ho, 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 here we come. Manhattan, new GM for you. I'm sorry. It's not even like GMs make good decisions. GM makes bad decisions. That's it. It's okay. But to me, Chris Drury has not shown that he has what it takes on the managerial side of things to respect the players the way they should be respected. And he has rectified this locker room. Clearly, something is wrong with what I consider one of the good rosters, one of the really good rosters in the NHL. And I think it starts from the top. I think Chris Drury needs to be stopped before it's too late for the New York Rangers. It is a team that still has a window. Despite Artemi Panarin's not getting younger, despite Chris Kreider not getting any younger, this team still has some very good talent. It has two good rocks for the next few years with Adam Fox on D, with Igor Shesterkin in front of the net. They have other young good players like Alexis Lafrenière and Kendra Miller, but Chris Drury needs to be stopped, and they need a new GM. So here we go, all wrapped up under the Christmas tree. The new GM for the New York Rangers is what I'm bringing as Santa Claus.
I'm curious, Max, because, in the previous segment, you were talking about how Chris Drury was maybe acting like a guy who has, old money. He's playing with his daddy money. Do you feel like if we keep Chris Drury in place, it would damage the reputation of the organization in the longer term?
I toyed with that idea, but I don't think so because it's the New York Rangers. It's an original six. It's Manhattan. It's Madison Square Garden. I think if they keep him there and maybe like it becomes a thing, like clear, it wasn't just a phase. It's not a phase, Mom. and it's something that repeats itself years after years. Then maybe for some while it could, but a young team, maybe a young team, like this is the thing with this is the thing with the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Vegas Golden Knights, since they've been in the NHL, they have deep pockets, they have an attractive market for the players, and they treat them like toys. You bring one in 1 year because he's the new toy. Oh, then suddenly Alex Pietrangelo is available. Okay, we need to find a way to trade Max Pacioretty for absolutely nothing. Wait, you just signed the guy for a big contract after trading for him. Yeah, it doesn't matter. New toy. This is the Vegas Golden Knights mentality. So far, it hasn't affected them. I have heard rumblings from players that in the future it could, because players who have played there are starting to tell other players, hey, be careful. You're going there, but you never know, man. One day it will be you. You're the new toy now. You will be you will one day become Woody. A Buzz Lightyear will come in, and you will become Woody. It all ended up all right for Woody and Buzz Lightyear. They had a very good relationship. I think there's a new Toy Story coming at some point in the next few years. Anyways, we don't care about that.
So is Chris Drury Sid? He's like the neighbor, and he's like the bad neighbor that destroys his toys.
Oh, is Chris Drury Sid?
with the Chucky doll.
I think you know who I think actually he is. He is the guy. I forgot his name. He is the purple teddy bear from Toy Story 3, the villain of Toy Story 3, who kind of manages the daycare center.
Yeah.
Right. He's actually a dictator. So that's Chris Drury. But yeah, no, because of the history of the New York Rangers, if you fire him right now, I don't think the damage is going to be permanent.
But you don't want him to tarnish the family name. You don't want him to be the kid who tarnishes the reputation of the whole family. So gifts are giving. Santa Kev, what do you have in your bag for your NHL team?
Well, I'm gonna stay in the New York metropolitan area. Actually,
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm gonna. This sleigh's not going too far. My reindeers are staying right there, and I'm going to the New York Islanders. Actually, wait. Let me make sure that in. Okay, yeah, that's the one I have. I didn't want to confuse my two gifts. So I'm the Islanders, and I need relevancy, right? So I'm giving the gift of relevancy. A storied franchise in NHL history, a franchise that we thought Patrick Roy would revitalize at least the interest in. And this year, they are solo profile. They are not talked about. They're not doing good. They're not like last in the league. They're not the Buffalo Sabres, but they're not doing good either. Nobody's talking about it. There's no pressure. Things are not necessarily going well. The crowd is not super jazzed up. It's a great arena, great location, great arena, the UBS arena. It's not full. And I think there's a danger here of just falling off the cliff. And I think the Islanders need to give a relevancy, either a superstar, a run of wins, something that makes him relevant. Patrick Roy deserves a bit better in his second chance in the NHL as a head coach. And I think the team deserves better when we're talking about Mike Bossy, talking about great alumni of that team. Right now, it's just irrelevant. And that's a shame. And I'm giving the Islanders the gift of relevancy.
It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Beautiful gift. Well thought. But I have a question for you, Kev.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm 33 years old. I did not know the Islanders of the early 80s. And to me, if you're asking me the 5 most irrelevant franchises in the NHL, like globally, not just for on-ice result, like you're asking me who, like the Sacramento Kings to me is an irrelevant franchise. I'm sorry to the Sacramento Kings, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the Columbus Blue Jackets, the New York Islanders, for a very long time, the Florida Panthers, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But to me, these are irrelevant franchises, and they've been forever. So let me ask you this, Santa Kev. How do you, is it just your magic touch at Santa, or is there a way for them to become relevant?
Well, I think the magic touch is definitely needed because you need something to spark it up. But I think it's to lean in that history a bit much. And I think you explained it really well. If you're not born in the early 80s and you've seen it or you've heard about it, I was born in 84, so I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. And I'm from Laval, I'm from Fabreville. Mike Bossy lived in our neighborhood for a long, long time. So the aura and the myth of the Islanders was present when I was growing up with the Richard Trottier and all that. So that was there. And that's how I know that franchise. I haven't seen it. It's a secondhand experience. I've heard about it, and I wish I could see it. There was a couple of glimpses of hope over the last 20 years when John Tavares was there. Let's not forget Zdeno Chara was there too for a long time. And that was kind of like moments where this franchise felt like it turned a corner. But then it took the wrong turn in the GPS and turned a wrong corner and again fell into oblivion. And I think it's a shame. And I think this franchise is deserving better. Not that I have anything against it or for it. I'm not a fan of that team. But when I look at what this could be, and I look at the franchise and the fan base was eroded over the years because of that. It took forever for the Nassau Coliseum to be renovated, and then they went away. They came back there, and then of course now they got the new arena. And I think what it needs now is maybe a superstar. But they don't get lucky either. It's not like they get the number one draft pick or anything like that. So relevancy would give him either a draft pick, a player out of nowhere that becomes a superstar, run of wins, a team mentality, something that is appealing. Because right now you're right. Not only are they not relevant, they're also not appealing. Who wants to watch the Islanders right now? That's why they need it.
And do you feel that, with the style of play that they've been having in the past years, which was way more defensively, this is maybe why they are not relevant to us, because they haven't been spectacular in a while?
I would say so, yeah, because it's not only the results, it's also it's also the way you get to those results. And it's not flashy, it's not blingy. At least if you're not good, if you're flashy, some people will like it. No, I think it's a shame that a franchise that made the careers of Roberto Luongo, John Tavares, and we're talking about just recently, right, in the last 20 years, Deno Chara also, and then before that, 80s, the Mike Bussey, the stretch they had in the early 80s right after the Edmonton Oilers was very impressive. And to see it again one day would be what this franchise needs. But right now, the lack of relevancy to me, the lack of even, I would say, they don't even recognize that problem out of Niels, because like Lou Lamoriello is still the GM. Lou Lamoriello was like old when I was young, and I'm old now. So it's like it needs a little bit of something, I think, a spark.
And his values are old too.
Yes.
Like, okay, so make the Islanders great again. This is Kev's gifts for them. I'm going a little bit away, guys, but we're staying not too far, because I am Santa and I'm sending a plumber to Pittsburgh to change all the plumbing instead of just putting Drano in the sink every other day. Let me hear this and let me say this, because I feel that this is what it is needed. The Pittsburgh Penguins need to face long-term pain. And, it's good to put Drano here and there once in a while, but when you're not going deeper in those pipes and you're not, going to do the work, it can result in your whole house flooding and just having all the pipes breaking, and you cannot patch it anymore with Drano. So I feel that this would be my gift to the Penguins, because significant changes need to be on the horizon. We don't need more quick fix, which we have been doing in the past, I don't know how much years, in the past decades. Over the years, we've been talking about this. We have prioritized the win now moves, trading, high draft picks, top prospects to maximize the window of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. And now it needs to end. When we're looking at the moves that were made by, just Exol in no longer than 2022, you're like, okay, you're signing all your oldest guys. And I know why you did it, because you see that and you're like, we are just like going to push further and further. And this was a good thing for a while, that, the Three Musketeers were doing good and we were trying to make them live as long as possible. But this is not possible anymore. So yeah, this is my gift for the Penguins, because they age like fine wine, but we thought, they could keep sipping in the fountain of youth. And well, the fountain of youth ran dry. And we need, like new, fresh prospects, and we need to think about the future. So if I'm thinking about the future, I'm not putting Drano anymore in my pipes. and I'm hiring a plumber to change everything before the house flood.
You know what your gift makes me think of, Daph?
What?
It's when you're a kid, they are flashy, beautiful gifts, right? You're like getting that new video game console, that new sport equipment you've been dreaming of, that toy. And when you're a kid, when an uncle or a an accountant, grandpa or whatever, gives a check, $100 check, and he tells your parent, "This is for future school. This is for put this in the that account or whatever," and you're like, "That gift sucks."
Yeah.
But it's
Practical.
actually the best gift of all when you look into it, because this is how you become a trust fund, kids. This is how you end up being able to buy a house at 20 years old. I'm joking, but this is the type of gift that would not be really sexy upon receiving for Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but I agree with you. It is the best gift that they can receive.
It's not sexy, but it's practical. It's like when I asked my like
Exactly.
early 20s, I'm like, yeah, I'm not asking for cool gifts anymore. I'm just asking for gifts that are going to be valuable and just, like things you don't want to pay for. Like me asking again and again new wipers to my dad, who refused to buy me new wipers because he thought it was boring. But I really needed good wipers and I wasn't ready to pay the good amount for it. And yeah, this is kind of you're the early, young adults, and you're like, I need something that is gonna, like serve me long term wise.
Exactly. Exactly. A blessing. Well, not a blessing in disguise, but a gift that will slowly become better and better.
Yeah, and that would keep on giving also, like for the next
Exactly.
few
Yes.
years.
Gotta get those compound interest, people.
Absolutely. And now,
Welcome to
guys,
Hyperdrive Finances.
we could do a lot of like we're here for you guys. We have solutions to every of your problems. Now, if we are doing shopping, so we are an NHL team and we are writing our Christmas list. We want something nice. We are circling around, there was like this Sears magazine every year that would come up when we were kids.
Oh, yes, I do
Christmas
remember.
edition. And I used to, like circle and write notes and write like we had the little numbers in the pages. So if you are an NHL team, Max, what are you circling in this big Christmas edition of Sears magazine? What would you like to receive for Christmas?
Well, hello, I'm the Buffalo Sabres. And I'm asking for a very non-sexy gift, actually. So in the apartment that I live in, the appliances are, come with the apartment. They're not ours.
Yeah.
So some of them are older than others. And recently, we had to wash our washing machine. I say we, but my girlfriend took care of that. I'm the type of guy who doesn't realize that sometimes you need to take care of the washing machine. Anyways, so, frontal washing machine, sometimes there's water accumulated in the front and, it gets stinky, it gets disgusting. And she bought something on the web that looked really, really sketchy. Like the package and all, it looked very, very toxic. Like you had to manipulate it with care and all of that, but you had to put it in the washing machine. And, we thought that it was some sort of gel. It kind of looked like Plexmal, for those who watched the movie with Robin Williams back in the day. And you had to put this, let it soak for, I don't know, like a full night or whatever, and then take it off and then do a few cycles to make sure your clothes don't become radioactive. But some spots were black in our washing machines. Let's just say that the people who were there before us didn't take as good care of the apartment as we're doing right now. Let's just say it like this. And to my big surprise, the next day, it was pristine. It was as new. I was like, what the F was in that freaking Plaxmol? What was in that gel? Like, what the Buffalo Sabres need this. They need the strongest, weirdest, cleaning detergent, toxic, everything. You need to put a mask on. You clean everything, everything. And you need, I mean, at this point, it's tough to say they need a reset or whatever because they've been building forever. They've been building forever. Like the one stain I think that needs to stay is Rasmus Dahlin. Everything else is on the table. But first and foremost, you change the culture. It's actually the culture of the team that needs to be cleaned at its core. It's rotten at the core. You need to take off all of it and start again.
What are your main black spots that you want to get rid of?
I don't know. We talked about it. Like, was it earlier this week? Was it last week? I think
Earlier
this week. But something in the culture is wrong. Something in the culture is wrong. I think it started at the top. You're not going to tell the owner to sell the team. And this owner can actually do something because the Buffalo Bills, we talked about it after being irrelevant forever, kind of like the New York Islanders, now are. So it just, the culture, I think it's just been like this for so long. You need a president of hockey operation who is strong-headed, who has a plan, who will start clean, who will do things the right way, who will bring a culture to the team. Because we know what happened when a society has no culture. It's the same thing with a hockey team, and this team has no culture. It needs to start back all the way to the beginning. A clean slate. We're starting again.
And maybe it would take a little bit more of this weird plaque mold, but at least it's a start. It's a start. So this is what you are wishing for if you are the Buffalo Sabres. Kev, I'm curious, which team are you and what is the present that you really, really wish to receive this Christmas?
I'm the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm really big in my own city. I have a big media presence. I'm the king. I'm the top dog here. But you know what I lack as the Montreal Canadiens is perspective, is knowing what the rest of the league, knowing what the rest of the league, the rest of the world thinks of us. The Montreal Canadiens still believe they're the New York Yankees. But in honesty,
Are they not?
They have become the New York Mets. They are way more closer to the Mets than the Yankees. They're the top dog, but they don't even know that. If you lived abroad or if you lived somewhere else in North America, they don't view the Montreal Canadiens as the best team in history anymore. They view it as your father or your grandfather's team that used to be good and that hasn't done nothing since the early 80s. You've talked about this year's catalog. When the last time the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup, you could actually go to consumer distribution and order on your catalog. That's a store that even people don't even know existed. Distribution consommateur. That's the type of thing that changed since then. And I mean that the Montreal Canadiens believe they're so big and that they're the best in the league still. But if you would look with perspective at who you are, at truly how you've seen across the league, you're the has-been. You're the one who used to be good.
Ouch.
And you need to change that perspective. Self-awareness will be able to help you heal and also progress. And I think that's where they are right now. You can't be seen and you can't just take your fan base for granted, charging $75 for a beer, charging $75 for parking, and expect the people to continue to be that fan base. 15 to 20 years ago, it was a lot bigger, even like in the early 2010s. You used to go to bars and restaurants and sports restaurants, and it was filled with people watching the Habs game. Have you gone to a restaurant to watch a Habs game lately? It's sad. There's nobody. It's a problem going forward when you're looking at rebuilding the fan base, a young fan base, outside of just fan of UPs and fan of the experience of the team. This team was built as an experience of winning, as an experience of great hockey. And as much as the rebuild has been going on and that, it's not just this regime, it's the last few. It's when they decided to put the brand bigger than its components. When the brand became bigger than the players, that became a problem to me. And self-awareness would show that regardless of who you are in the league, You're as good as the last time you've won. And you're as good as the last time you had a compelling player. The last real good, compelling player was Alex Kovalev, if we want to think about it.
Whoa. Goalies are people too. Carey Price, baby.
Goalies are people too, but name me the last goalie who filled out an arena and made an entire arena. Yes, they yelled Carey, but they were not on their feet with the jaw open and be like, oh my God, we just saw something special. And I think
I feel so insulted by this. I'm gonna report to HR.
well, if it makes you react that way, maybe because there's a little truth in there. And as much as great goaltending is good, it's not what pays the bill. It's not what makes people come to the arena. Guy Lafleur to me is the last, and I haven't even seen him play. Alex Kovalev was great, but he was not Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux. And I think that's the self-awareness Montreal Canadiens, if I were them, needs to admit is times have changed. Enough is enough. And look at really who you've become. Look in the mirror. Look at who you've become. You've become what you despised. You've become the Toronto Maple Leaf. And you need to change.
I can't believe, Kev, as I'm wearing a Darth Vader sweater, you've become the very thing you've sworn to destroy. It was right there for the taking. I was so hoping you were gonna say it.
Yeah.
Feels like a wasted opportunity.
And Montreal does not have the high ground. So you know what happens.
Thank you.
I
love you again after that goalie planter.
I really like it, Kev. I feel like you're, person entering his 30s and just like having a lot of self-reflection and wanting really deeper things for Christmas this year.
Yeah. I want my socks. I need my socks.
If you're at this point, like what's on your vision board? Because if you're in your early 30s, you definitely have a vision board. So what's on your vision board for the next year if you're the Montreal Canadiens?
I look over there and I see my wife's vision board, so that's really funny what you said. For the Montreal Canadiens, I actually think that they need to get closer to the public, to build, to bring it down a notch, bring the ego as an organization down a notch. And of course, I'm saying this, I'm never going to get credentials to go see the Montreal Canadiens now. I don't care, but someone needs to say it. You're not that special. You can it's better now than it used to be. But you can let your players have fun in the media in the city. And there's a soccer team in Montreal who could probably use these advice too. But you're not as cool as you thought you were. Just be you, be there for the public, for the fans, and build that trust that way. I'm pretty sure if we would walk around on St. Catherine Street or whenever in Montreal, and you would ask the fans how they view the Montreal Canadiens, how they view that relationship with them, it's a one-way street. It's the fans giving money to the team. It's not the team is giving me back a whole lot with pleasure or identity. That used to be the case. And I think that needs to be rethought a little bit.
I love it. This is really humbling gift for the Montreal Canadiens. I like it. This is very mature, very demure, very mindful.
Yes, exactly.
For the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this with my wish. If I'm the Hurricanes, I would really wish to have injury-free goaltending. Because you know that the Canes had bad luck with goalie injuries in the past seasons. And I feel like you're looking at this and you're looking at the way that the season is going and maybe some upsets and some surprise. And you're like, okay, we could be close to, get back to a Stanley Cup final and maybe dream about another cup. But you're looking at this and you're like, okay, we are currently without our starting goaltender, Frederik Andersen, who went under knee surgery, is expected to return towards end of February. And it's okay. The workload has been given to Kochekov, who did a great job. He's performed well, though he missed 4 games due to a concussion. And thank God it was only 4 games because we didn't know how much time he would be out. And this is scary. And if I'm looking at this, I'm like, maybe our wish is more getting a decent goalie to, like help him. And we know they were interested in Mackenzie Blackwood before he got dealt to the Colorado Avalanche. And we're looking at the market and we're like, maybe they were interested in Vladar too from the Calgary Flames. But maybe this is something that we would need to put our Christmas list if we want to do a big push off till the end of the season and in the playoffs. Because yes, Anderson's going to be back, but how long is it going to take for him to have, like his game shape back? We don't know. So maybe looking for something out there to help us along the way.
When you have to give a start to Dustin Tokarski, you're in deep. You don't have the high ground. You're not even on the ground. You're in the lava. With that being said, Steph, if there is one gift that we have either given or asked for in the last half an hour that I think will happen, it's this one. Maybe not for Christmas. Yeah. And I'm going to make you a prediction right away. This is the season of prediction after all today. After the one the Rangers not making the playoff. John Gibson will be a Carolina Hurricane by the end of the season.
Oh. As you're wearing your Ducks hat, too. It's not...
I am, actually. I see, That's true. I had forgotten.
And you know what? We've talked about John Gibson before, and I wasn't sure that he was, right fit for a lot of things, but I think this could be a good one. At the right price, certainly the Ducks retaining some salary there, I feel that this could be a good acquisition.
Yeah, no, I believe that John Gibson's play since he has come back from injury has reassured some teams, and I think it's a good moment for the Ducks. I think it would be good for the Carolina Hurricanes. And to me, John Gibson is funny because it's one of the great what-ifs right now in the NHL. I would have always been curious to see that man on a good team.
Yeah. I don't know if he's, he's older and, we just have been wondering. But I would love to see what he could do. And just like maybe as a backup figure, like maybe this is a good role for him right now. Just helping some team.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. So we made our wishes. We gave some gifts. I feel that we are in the Christmas spirit, and that is it. I don't know, I'm curious to see if our gifts or our wishes are gonna be, true in the next few weeks.
All right, guys, that will be it for the very last episode of 2024 of Hyperdrive Hockey. Thank you so much. If you have taken a minute, 100, I was going to say 1,000. I don't know if we have 1,000 minutes yet on this podcast. I would have to calculate. No, we don't. We really
we don't.
Okay.
Actually, we do. Yeah, because
60 minutes.
22 times 50 is like 1,200 minutes. So yeah, we're there.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so 1,000 minutes. Thank you so much for spending time with us this fall. We will be back early January. It is a pleasure doing this with you. Of course, Game Over Network is a young Canadian media company trying to find its place in this huge ocean of hockey content. So we thank you so much for choosing to spending time with us. If it's not done already, please subscribe to Game Over Network's channel on YouTube. Give us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Podcasts. Have a very safe, happy, jolly holiday, anything you want. Hopefully your gifts are more along the line of gratitude and the real things that are important, like Kevin, or something that you can invest in like that, and not some superficial stuff like your boy here went. I went all superficial, but hey, what do you expect from a guy wearing a Darth Vader Christmas sweater? Of course, I'm all for the cake, I'm all for the toys, and I'm all for you having a safe and happy holiday. Daph, have a safe holiday. Have a fun trip. Think you're going somewhere for the holidays?
Yeah, Florida for a little week. I'm gonna work and then head to Florida.
The person I
That's
know
not bad.
that can stay tan the most throughout winter actually goes to Florida to make us look even worse when she comes back. All right, that's cool. Really cool. Thank you. Kev, have a happy holiday, my man.
Happy holidays to everybody listening, and hope you have a fun time with your families.
This is Hyperdrive Weekend. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a happy and Merry Christmas. Talk to you in 2025.